Word, son. What it do, everybody? What's up, YouTube? Or, word, son. What it do, YouTube? Shibwa DiVine. What it do, everybody? What's going on? What's good? Hopefully, everybody's having a great Tuesday so far. You know what I'm saying? Today's date is Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. Shibwa DiVine, Just Divine, whichever one you want to call me by. Just J, don't matter. Divine, I'll go by either or. Excuse me. So yeah, make sure y'all, if you're on YouTube, make sure you sit back, chill, take a pee break, pause the video, get you some popcorn, because you know how I do. Everywhere else you're hearing this, man, make sure you sit back, chill, hit the pause button if you got to, get you some popcorn, you know what I mean? This is episode 3 of the Just Divine podcast. Yeah, man, I know it's been a little while, I had a little bit of a jam-packed week, so, hopefully y'all are doing good, you know what I'm saying? If y'all are kicking back, just chilling, you know what I mean? I know a couple people that listen to the podcast, they said that they were playing a game or doing something around the house and just had it playing in the background, which is a good way to digest, if you got something in audio playing in the background, because sometimes you can digest things better when your mind is kind of like when your mind is occupied doing something and you got like background noise going. So yeah, man. So appreciate everybody that came through in this, and they're checking out the podcast. You know what I'm saying? But without further ado, man, let's get up into it. So I know last episode, I think I said in the podcast that I was a Modus Games beta tester, alpha tester, whatever. But I was a tester, so I signed up. And they had a website where I could sign up, and then they put you in the Discord, and then they'll email you out the codes so you can go ahead and be one of the beta testers or alpha testers or whatever for whatever product they had coming up, which was Maximum Football at the time. And we signed an NDA, so we couldn't really talk about specific things that were going on inside of the beta testing. We couldn't share screenshots, video, any of that stuff. We couldn't do it, right? So just recently, we got an email from Modus Games saying that the beta test that we had ended about maybe a week and a half early. You know what I mean? Like, it was because it had just started, like, I think the 14th of January, and it was supposed to last until the 31st, I think. I'm not sure. It might have lasted a little bit shorter than that, but I don't know. But all I know was it ended earlier than it was supposed to. And somebody had but somebody showed gameplay footage or some clips about Modus Games, and because of that, they had to squash the test. And inside the NDA, of course, if you're not supposed to disclose any of the sensitive information at that time, because of course it's rough, and they don't want to show people what they got going on until they finally get it all polished, because it hurts the game, because you have some people that think prematurely and they think that, oh, the game looks like this, oh, it's gonna be trash, you know what I'm saying? And then they'll spread the word like wildfires, and then it'll get to a point where people don't want to pick it up because, oh, remember what it looked like this, and oh yeah, the game is gonna look like that, and it just hurts the reputation of the company, and then it could hurt the sales possibly. So they went on ahead and just killed the test, and they said, we can still do the survey if we would like to. They appreciate it if we still did it, but they had to cut the test short. And my thoughts on that is, it's kind of messed up, you know what I mean? Because it's like, we're all hyped to have, another football game to combat the current state of where football is now with Madden, and because people ain't really feeling Madden, you know what I mean? Of course, with the exception of Legend Bowl, but like I said, people don't really have that much access to a decent computer that can run Legend Bowl, even though it's not demanding performance wise. You can push it to that, but he made that with the intent of you can just pick it up and play it. You don't have to have the best top tier computer to run it. It's nice if you do, but if not, you can still run it given the graphics. But so the fact that we all got to pay the price for that because somebody leaked it, it's not cool, man. You know what I mean? But I will say this: I don't know if the NDA is still in effect, so I can't really dive too deep into what they're doing. But I will say, man, what I did play for that day that I played, because I was gonna pick it back up again and I really do some actual extensive work on it. I will say, man, Modus Games is they really got something, bro. They really got something. Just the way that it felt from the player models to everything, they got something. They really got something coming. You know what I mean? But yeah. So a little bummed out by that. Kind of pissed about that. So Yeah, so I don't know when's the next time they're gonna do a play test. I don't know. That might be the last time that they do one because somebody ended up leaking it. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, Modus definitely has something. They had something in the tuck waiting to go. So yeah, man, a little bummed out by that, but Modus Games they got something going on. So let's switch gears for a second, man. And if you subscribe to the channel, man, if you've been subscribed to me since day one, damn near, or sometime in the past, you know what I mean, you're practically fam at this point. You've heard my story times. You've heard all the stories that I had, all the times where I messed up, and you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you glimpses into my personal life, so you kind of know, a few things about me, you know what I mean? So um I kind of want to dive a little deeper into that. So let's just switch gears for a second and give you another little look into my personal life again. So a lot of people know what Reddit is, right? If you're listening to this, if you should know what Reddit is. If not, Reddit is just basically like, it's a thread based, internet or app or whatever you want to call it, thread based place that you go into where they have these things called subreddits, and you have different subreddits. Let's say if you're a Cowboys fan, there's a subreddit for Cowboys, and then everybody goes in there and they post like little, pictures, videos, or topics about certain things about the Cowboys or whatever. I don't know why I use them as a reference. That's a shit reference. I should have said Eagles, but anyway. But you have like these different subreddits that you can go into or whatever, and there's a plethora of shit you can get into. But one of the ones that I was in was this one called Cougars for Cubs. And if you don't know, but basically that's just, younger men looking for older women or vice versa. So, I like older women. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Some of y'all like that, some of y'all don't, some do, you know what I mean? Whatever floats your boat. But so I particularly like that stuff. So, it's not the end all be all. I still fuck with, women that are around my age. But if I happen to see somebody that's older than me and they're interested, or I find something that I see, I'm gonna go for that. You know what I mean? So every Sunday and Thursday they'll do like this thing called roll call inside of this subreddit, where like you post, your age, your ASL, if your age, sex, location, and then you say, or DMs are open, or looking or not looking, whatever. You just kind of keep it short and sweet or whatever, and then people will get at you from there. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's more men in there than it is of women. So you have the same ones that will comment from females, and then you have mostly just men that'll comment. You know what I mean? Some are looking for sugar mama, some are looking for just to bang. You know what I mean? But you have some that are actually like looking. You know what I mean? So you'll have some that are looking that say, oh, just local only, or looking to chat. You have to read the description of it, right? So sometimes I'll post, sometimes I won't, or whatever. And on Reddit, if you click on my profile, you can see all where I posted. You know what I mean? You see my comment, you can see what I posted, and you can see my comments. It's called karma on Reddit, whatever. So one day out of the blue, I get a message request from some account, right? And you would think it's just some sort of fake account. So I didn't really pay it no mind, but I was getting ready to just ignore it. But I was like, let me see what's up. So it said, hey, 26, Georgia, male, DMs are open. Are you looking to chat? And I was like, whatever, I'll take the bait, you know what I mean, just to see what's really going on. So I accepted it. We chit-chatted for a little while. She thought, the posts I had were very intelligent and really well thought out and put and stuff like that. She was asking about the experiences that I've had with older women and stuff like that, how they went. Most of them were negative, some were cool, but some, if I had to say what they were overall, they were mostly negative. But it's rare that I've actually had a positive interaction with one, other than when I was back in Texas. But here it's kind of, you know what I mean? So I was telling her about that. She's like, wow, that's crazy. So we ended up exchanging selfies or whatever. So she sent a selfie of her. She sent a selfie of herself. I sent one of mine, one of my best pictures or whatever. So she's like, oh, okay. I was like, you're very, very handsome. I was like, appreciate it. So we got to talking some more. Then eventually we just exchanged numbers. So we exchanged numbers, and then we got to talking some more. So eventually we ended up talking over the phone. And this is where it kind of went downhill from there. You know what I mean? Now, one of the things I learned from my first girlfriend is to never put your guard down based off of how cute she is. You know what I'm saying? You have to have some kind of couth about yourself. when you go at somebody or you just ignore all the signs about somebody and you look at them based off of how pretty they are, that's how you end up getting yourself in some shit. So not gonna lie, this lady was 50, between 50 and 51. She says she's 50. In post she says she's 51. I don't really know, but she's around that age bracket. So I think she said she's 50. She told me she's 50 or 51. And and she sent me a picture of herself and she looks very, very good. We even video chatted at some point. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really see much of her body. All I saw was maybe like just her chest. You know, she had a nice set of them tick old bitties. You know what I'm saying? And you know, she was very, very pretty. She didn't have a wrinkle in her face, not a gray hair in sight. She looked really good. So, you know, we were talking some more. We continued to talk or whatever. Then eventually it got to the point where we got on the phone, and she was very passionate about a lot of things that she talked about. But it was one of those things where, because of her age, she always kept hinting around how long she's been around, how much she knows, and she always gave off this indication that she knew everything about anything. You understand what I'm saying? And there was no open dialogue for conversation about whatever, because we could talk about things that are really subjective. You know, I'll say something like, you know, the sky. She'll say something like the sky is blue, right? And I'll say, oh yeah, the sky is no. Yeah, I'll say something like the sky is blue because this is an actual true fact. The sky is blue because the sunlight, the sunlight from, the ocean water reflects off the sunlight, and that's what. However the fuck it goes, but the sun reflects the ocean's color off on that side of that's why the sky's blue. Whatever. Don't know the direct signification of that, but don't hold me to it. You know what I'm trying to say. And she might say, well, no, that's not it, because the sun is actually blah 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 blah, right? So, you know, and I'm just like, okay, I get you. I get what you're saying, but that's, you know, that's kind of subjective. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, I'm not really buying into what she's saying. You know what I'm saying? You have your point and I got mine. You know what I mean? But it's like, you have to get down to what she's saying. Excuse me. So, you know, so it was like, you know, we had this conversation about, because she's from Chicago. So we had this conversation about, you know, the ongoing war that's always been in Chicago about, you know, King Von dying, FBG Doug, all the shootings and stuff like that is in Chicago, you know, because that's always been that culture down there. You know what I mean? I'm not from that, nor was I even grown up. I didn't grow up in no hood. You know what I mean? As much as I say, oh yeah, I've seen some crime here and there, wasn't nothing really, you know, nothing really out of the ordinary other than people getting their cars broken into and maybe somebody's house getting ran into. But as far as like that extra shit where there's shootings every other day, it was never nothing like that. You know what I mean? I got stories about, like, you know, guns going off near me, but it wasn't nothing like, you know, it was always a war zone. It wasn't nothing like that. So she was getting really down into her pocket. Getting down in her bag about, you know, the shootings in Chicago, about FBG Duck and King Von and so on and so forth. Like I said, I'm not from that culture, so I can't really relate to it, nor can I really talk about it, because I'm not gonna speak on something I don't know of. So that's the part I was trying to get with her, you know, get to her, you know what I mean? But, you know, she was trying to basically gaslight, and gaslighting, if you don't know, is when you try to make somebody think that you try to manipulate somebody into thinking that, you know, oh well, maybe she's right, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I need to do so and so. You know what I mean? Like, that's what gaslighting is, trying to manipulate you into thinking that you should change yourself because of X, Y, and Z. So, you know, just mind manipulation. That's what gaslighting is. And you know, she said, you know, because I told her, I was like, you know, I don't know of that. I'm so far removed from that because I've never grown up in that. You know, I get what you're saying, and it's indeed messed up. But you know, what can I do? Only thing I can do is, because it really honestly have nothing to do with me. As insensitive as it sounds, that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with me. Only thing I can do is see that, you know, process it, download it, and just know what to do and what not to do to get myself in that position to begin with. You know what I mean? But I'm so far removed from that. My parents didn't grow me up in environments like that, so I don't know anything of that. It's messed up indeed, but you know, it doesn't apply to me. You know, I mean, what it applies to me, but it doesn't it doesn't have anything to do with me, and I'm not from that culture, you know what I mean? So I can't relate to it like that, you know? And she tried to crucify me behind that, like, oh, what do you mean it doesn't have nothing to do with you? I'm so far removed that's kind of fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I didn't grow up in that, you know what I mean? So I can't sit here and speak about something that I don't know. I see it, you know what I mean? I'm educating myself on it, but I can't relate to that because I didn't grow up in that, you know what I mean? But it was just a whole lot of that back and forth or whatever. So she tried to crucify me about that. And I found myself getting pissed off because I'm just like, yo, like, you trying to really question my character, and I just told you, like, that's just what it is. If you tell somebody that and they're talking about that, you know what I mean, any person in their right mind would be like, all right, well, cool, I see what you're getting at, but ain't it messed up though? Yeah, it is messed up though. Like, why is it like that though? And then we can continue that conversation on further, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody that you fuck with, you know, y'all talk about that, and, you know, you tell them, like, you know, hey, you know, any person will respect that you acknowledge that you're not from that, instead of trying to fake and be something that you're not. Anybody in the right mind will really respect that. You know what I'm saying? So, she just couldn't, you know what I mean? So I couldn't relate to that, and she couldn't respect that. So that was our red flag right there. And then we started talking about music or whatever. Eventually we stumbled on the topic of music. So mind you, like, you know, I'm already kind of like, especially when you meet somebody new, I'm kind of reluctant to really give myself and who I am to that person, because you don't know what people are thinking nowadays. So eventually the music came up, the topic of music came up. So we were talking about music or whatever, and she was asking me, like, you know, what kind of music do you do? And I told her, I said, I rap, but I'm trying to learn the beat making process. But that process alone is a whole new world. It's like a separate world from rapping. You know what I mean? And maybe there's probably some correlation later on, but to me, it's kind of new. So I'm kind of getting my feet wet. But as of right now, I'm really just rapping. You know what I mean? So I sent her my album, let her listen to my album or whatever. So I kicked her 16 or whatever. And I was like, you know, that's all you get for free. You know what I mean? Other than that, you got to go listen to my songs. So I did that or whatever. You know, didn't really too much talk about it. And then we started getting into, you know, how I got into music. So I told her that it was therapy to me. You know, first I was doing music because I wanted a little notoriety. Then eventually, in notoriety in high school, then eventually it changed up to the point where I was doing that because I didn't really have nobody else to really talk about certain things that were like bothering me, only to get the reply back from other people to say, like, damn, that's crazy. You know, well, just, you know, it'll be all right, man. You know what I'm saying? It'll be all right at some point. You know what I mean? So that to me was kind of like, it was kind of like a, that was my phone in the background if y'all didn't hear that. But that to me was kind of like a, it was kind of like a therapy thing for me. You know what I'm saying? So it felt therapeutic. Then eventually it got to the point where I started taking it seriously. Once I left high school, or I started getting to the end of high school, I started taking it seriously. So I started really, like, you know, doing it for the art, you know what I mean? And it really, you know, struck on people because it was something different versus what you hear now. And it sounded good at the time. So then she asked me, like, well, she was like, well, what are you? I was like, you know, I'm an artist. And then eventually, so I said that or whatever. And then she was saying something along the lines of, what she said? She said something along the lines of, she's like, well, you want to know how you know you're an artist? This is what you do. Go to a state where nobody knows of you, play your songs, and then that's how you know if you got something. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Okay, I can see that. You know what I mean? That's a good idea. But, you know, you've heard the phrase, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So I'm deep into the internet. So with this following I got on YouTube and probably other places also, you know, I know how to maneuver my way around through the internet and get my name buzzing like that. There's so many different ways on how to get your name buzzing to the point where you don't even have to go out. You can just get your name out like that through the internet because it's so much more faster. And then once let's just say if I was going to do that, but I did the internet way, I can put my name out everywhere to just watch the numbers and then see if people really are, you know, fucking with it. And then if did, I go to that state. And then I put my name on the flyer or say I'm performing at that state. Whoever knows of my name and knows of me or is in that music realm, they'll come out and come see me live. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of the internet way of doing it. So, you know, so I told her that, you know, how I normally do it is I would, and this is another thing I'm going to bring up that she does. And this visibly frustrated me. So what I would do is I would normally, if I'm hanging with somebody or whatever and we listen to music, I'll slide one of my songs into the rotation because I know what they like. So I'll play the little playlist or whatever, then I'll slide my song to the rotation, and then I'll say, hey, have you heard of this new dude or whatever? His name is DiVine, DiVine, something he called himself. Yo, like I think music is all right, man. Like I ain't never heard of him. Check this shit out. So I play it or whatever, and I look at their reaction, see if they reacting to it or not. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, damn, that's actually hard. Yo, hold on, that beat is hard. Hold on, who is that? What's his name? And then I'll tell them whatever. I still won't tell them to the end of the song or whatever. And if they fucking with it, then I'll go a little further than that. You know what I mean? Tell them like, yeah, that was me. No, that ain't you. You know what I mean? Then just go from there. But if they don't fuck with it, then it's cool. Because I've gotten to a point with my music where it's like, it's art, you know what I'm saying? That's why I take it as, not everybody's gonna flock to it. So I respect people that even take the time to listen to it, because I had people that really just won't listen to it at all. You know what I mean? So I appreciate people who actually take the time to listen to it, whether they like it or not. You know what I mean? But that's just how I went about it or whatever. But at the same exact time, the people who I really get the input from are the ones who do music. The producers, the actual people who rap and stuff like that, people who are really into music and don't just listen to it. Those are the ones I get the feedback from the most. You know what I'm saying? So, excuse me. So, whenever I was explaining that, I got to the part where I said that I would let people listen to my music and then get my feedback from there. But she stopped me in mid thought, mid idea, and she said, hold on, let me get this straight. So you do music and you consider it art and you consider yourself an artist. I was like, correct. And then she said that you do it, put it out there to seek the approval of other people. I was like, mind you, I didn't go to the second half just yet. She stopped me mid-thought. And I said, yeah, but I don't go to the extent of, before I even got to that point, she stopped me mid-conversation. Again, she stopped me mid-conversation and said, yeah, okay, yeah, you're not an artist. You're not an artist. And that pissed me off. Like, I immediately had like just fire enraged in me. I was hot. I was so pissed off because I was just like, how the fuck can you tell me I am not an artist? And then that's what she goes in and she starts saying about, I've been in the music industry for X, Y, and Z. And, I've been around, I have records and stuff like that all on the wall and all this other stuff and yada, yada, yada. It might have been true, but see, at this point, like now it's like, now you're stepping on the toes of somebody who takes their craft seriously. You know what I'm saying? An artist is somebody who performs, writes, or releases music independently or under a record label, and is very knowledgeable and skillful and talented about the work that they do. Now, mind you, I've told her already in the past, which I probably mentioned this already, that I'm a student of the game, so I'm forever learning. But what the responses that I've had from people that listen to music and people who do music, they tell me I got something, especially people who do music. Like, they like, if you tighten up on this, tighten up on that, yo, like, you got something. Like, you really, really got something. Your voice is, like, unique. You know what I mean? Like, it's very rare we hear that voice anymore. You know what I mean? Other than the compressions that you use, we don't hear that voice anymore. That straightforward tone, that general sound, like, we don't hear that no more. You know what I mean? So, so she just started going down this rabbit hole about, back then, when you were an artist, you hung around other artists, you just put your art out there. You don't seek the approval or validation from other people. And, do you hang out around other artists? I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, well, who do you hang out around? I'm like, yo, like my barber, no bullshit. My barber, come to find out, he does music. He's deep into music like that. He just took a back seat to it, but he knows his way around, music. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might have a sound and he'll like, what, that sounds like that sound from about a few years ago, that the Outkast album, that so-and-so album, like that's the sound is similar to that, right? Now, I'm about to get to my next point. She started getting into this bag where most of the time, if I do a song and I might be influenced by that artist or that group or whatever, right? Some people can hear it or what people will do is they'll tell me who I sound like or who I sound similar to, right? So some people will say, like, people have told me I sound like Jay Electronica. Some people say I've sounded like Tyler, the Creator. Some people say I've sounded like Earl Sweatshirt. Some people say I sounded like, who was they saying I sounded like? Some people say I almost got the caliber of Big Crit. You know what I'm saying? Some people have told me that. This is their words, not mine. You know what I mean? So when they tell me stuff like that, with all the stuff that's going on, with all the artists and music that's going on, you're bound to sound like somebody, or you're bound to have a sound similar to somebody. You know what I mean? It's not on purpose. You know, you got some people that do that shit on purpose. Like, remember Designer? Like, people swore him down that Designer was supposed to be sounding like Future. You see what I'm saying? But Designer ended up making his own sound, or started trying to separate himself from that with different tones and sound, music and shit. But, you know, when people tell me that, these are people who I look at with the highest amount of respect, and I respect their penmanship. You know what I'm saying? So when they tell me that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's what's up. So that means, like, you know, that's what it feels like to me, that my penmanship or my sound or my vision, or however you want to look at it, is of that caliber. And these guys have exquisite taste when it comes to music. You know what I mean? So I respect them. And then when they tell me that, I'm like, oh shit, like, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the vibe I get from it. Now, I'm smart enough to know when people are trying to be funny or be like a smart ass about it. You know what I mean? But most people I've come around on a serious tip, you know, they've been straightforward, honest with me, and I can respect that. Whether they feeling it or they're not feeling it, but the people who are feeling it, they'll tell me that's what I sound like the most. You know what I mean? That's what a few people have told me. So when I told her that, before I can even get into the whole spiel about it, you know, I would, when I say that, you know, I take it as a compliment. That ain't no compliment. That's people just trying. That's people telling you, oh, is it who you sound like? You do you really like sounding like somebody? I was like, nah, but at the same time, I mean, with all this music around, it's kind of hard for you to come in a game and sound unique to a degree that nobody has ever done before. You're bound to sound like somebody unwillingly. You know what I'm saying? With everything that's going on, because that's what music is. Everybody's influenced by somebody's sound. Give me an example. J. Cole is influenced by Nas. You know what I'm saying? Give me another example. Kendrick was inspired by DMX, Eminem, and who else? Pac, Jay. Like, there's so many that he was influenced by. You know what I'm saying? Let's say Hobson. Hobson is inspired by Eminem, 50 Cent, D12, I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I know those two for sure. You know what I mean? So that's where you have this big ass melting pot of different people who influence you, and then when it's time for you to actually put on the music, that's what you just come out with, whatever sound it is. Give an example. Jay-Z didn't sound the way he sounded when he first started out. He was trying to do the double time, you know, trying to rap fast on beats and do, you know what I'm saying, sound like DOS effects and shit, until time rolled on and he started actually making his own sound, making his own way. So the point I'm trying to make is, you're bound to sound like somebody when you first start out. You know what I mean? Until you unconsciously find your own sound, and then that's who you are. But some people say that, you know, your sound is unique already. You know, you might have the influences or the techniques of other people, and that's just what it is. Everybody's going to use each other's techniques. But as far as that is, you understand what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. So like I said, I'm smart enough to know when people are trying to be a smart ass about it. So she just kept trying to grill me about me not being an artist, and, you know, hang around other artists hang around other artists. But to make a long story short, she just kept trying to project onto me about her, about how things were done back in her day. You know what I mean? And the more and more she talked about that, it started to really push off to me that two things. One, you are so set in your ways that you don't conform to the times. You know what I'm saying? And I've iterated to her so many times that, you know, times have changed. You know what I mean? Like, she's very reminiscent of my dad. At least my dad is like, he understands that, like, the times are different. So, you know, the younger generation has a different way of handling things versus how he's seen it when they all first came up. So, because a lot of people are saying back then compared to now, it was easier to get on now than it was back in the day, because you really had to go out there and do the footwork. But with the internet now, that kind of speeds up the process a bit. But she was just really set in her ways, and, you know, she just saw it from that way and that way only, which that was the first red flag, but I'm not picking up on it yet. So that started to really like be a bigger flag. So then the second thing is, there's a level of disconnect, you know what I mean, because of the generations. Her generation, that was the way that an artist, quote unquote, at that time would handle being an artist. You know what I'm saying? But now in my generation, you can be an artist and you don't have to necessarily fall into those prerequisites or those categories in order to be called an artist. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, who are you to say who's an artist and who isn't? It doesn't even matter the fact that you've been inside the music industry, you've been in the game for so long. And tell you the truth, I don't even know if any of that shit is legit or not. You know what I mean? You could say you have all the records and shit on the wall. Those might not even be your records. Those are probably just records that you've hung up to, to just say that, I've helped in this, and they gave you a plaque to hang on your wall. You know what I mean? You probably have been in the music industry, but you weren't that involved. You know what I mean? So these are the things where when you don't really give people too much stock to start out until time goes on, you kind of hold your own, I guess you could say judgment until time goes on and that person reveals himself a little more. So I was very resistant to just believe everything that was coming out of her mouth. So like I said, people can say they're in the music industry, but never really did music industry shit. You know what I mean? Or they've done music industry shit, but they really weren't that involved. They were just a touch and go basis. So I'll label it as basically just being a level of disconnect because of the generations that we grew up in. I'm in the newer age generation. She's in the old school generation, which is nothing wrong with that. And I'm not trying to throw her age at her, but it's just with that being what it is, there's going to be a level of disconnect because you expect people to do it this way, but the newer age way is the way to do it. You might not understand it, but that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So I left it at that. You know what I mean? So, she would make little snide little comments and remarks and say, okay, that's all right. Cause I told her that's just what it is. So I drew back from that conversation and just left it at that. Cause that's just what it was. And she's like, okay, whatever if she sleep at night, you know what I mean? I caught on to that, just didn't say nothing. Excuse me. So so then I just switched conversations or whatever. So that right there, that interaction right there, I was like, you're not a person that I should talk music with because you're the one that's going to try to shit on me at every turn because I'm not following these prerequisites, or you're trying to project what I should do to be an artist back in your times. And at the same time, tell me who I am and who I'm not if I don't follow in these ways. That's not what we're doing here. You understand what I'm saying? So, let people be who they are. You shouldn't project your ideas and opinions and thoughts on other people with the intent of them following on because you don't know exactly what's going to work for them and what ain't. You know what I mean? And I told her, whatever information you tell me, it might be useful, but I'm going to pick and choose what information is going to be deemed useful to me. And whatever else I don't need, I'm just, I'm gonna throw it away. I'm gonna discard it because I don't need it. You know what I mean? Why would I deviate away from something that's working for me? See what I'm saying? So anyway, so then little time goes on a little further or whatever. And we start talking about just, the people that she dealt with or whatever. And the more and more she talked, I realized that she liked to be in control of things. You know what I mean? She liked to be in control. And the way that she talked about this one guy that she was dealing with that was I'm 26. So the guy had been 30. Mind you, she's 50. So, generally a younger dude compared to her. And some of the ways that he acted was just some of the ways that, she doesn't really too much, she's not too fond with other younger people. The guy pretty much wanted to date her, but the way that he acted was just really something that she wasn't really fooling with, you know what I mean? But the way the guy was so sprung over her, I guess in a way that might have turned her on, not turned her on, but it made it to where maybe she can kind of control him to a way where to a point where the guy was so sprung over her, if she said to jump, he'll say how high. Type shit, you know what I'm saying? But she didn't want to too much deal with him because of his ways and how he needed to basically just grow up, I guess, per se. And then another guy, this guy was married, so she was a mistress to him. Oh my God, I wish my phone stopped going off. But she was a mistress to him, she was a mistress to him or whatever. So, she was getting the best of him while his wife was getting the shit. You know what I'm saying? And this was her words, not mine. So, she just, the way she was just talking, and then, we talked about, intimacy with men and women, and, she always tried to talk like she knew so much about everything. And that to me is just annoying because a lot of conversations are subjective. You know what I mean? It sucks that you can't really have an open dialogue conversation about something, especially something that's subjective, when somebody just feels like they know the right answer to everything. They know everybody. They know how things work. And it's like, because you're older and you've been around a little bit, you've experienced some things, that doesn't make you so wise. You know what I mean? You're wise in the ways of, if something happens, this your best way to go about it. People, like, give me an example, my barber. He's been around a while, right? He has put me on game to some things that could possibly help me in the future, but he has never told me this is the way how it goes, this is the way how it works. He's never told me no shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, when we talk, it's always like on a deep, respectable, intellectual conversation, and it can get deep, you know what I'm saying? But to the surface, he'll say, you young, so, you're young. So with the fact that you being young, the best way to handle it would be like this. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell me how to handle it or whatever. And I'll take that with me. And if the time comes, then I'll keep that in mind. But other than that, it's never like a straightforward, this is what it is. This is how it's going to go. That's it. There's no contest to that. You know what I mean? It's never been like that. But with her, on the flip side, it was always about, this is how it is. This is how it should be. That's it. End of story. The end. Roll credits. You know what I mean? So like, to me, that was always like, that was always just like, it was so annoying to me. Like, how are you just, you think you know everything? And like I said, like, I didn't involve myself too deep into the conversations because everything she said was truly subjective. It wasn't like a, yeah, I can see your point there. You know what I mean? And I can see your point there. Then, we can go from there, but it was always, no, it's not, because da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And that shit was just, it was so annoying to me. So like I said, I was already checking out of the conversation already. That was like the third day. The fourth day comes. I'll say maybe the third or fourth day, maybe. And we were talking about, I forgot what the fuck we was talking about or whatever, but she already iterated to me that she wasn't really big on the internet. She's been around the internet and watched it progress and, blossom into what it is. And, there was always these things that she talked about that she didn't like. And, she thought it was gay to see another man, posting on social media about X, Y, and Z, or taking a selfie or, whatever it is. And I was like, I could kind of see your point. I wouldn't say it's gay to a degree, you know what I mean? But people are just connecting on social media like that. I'm not, but hey, do as you wish. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's just more of those things where it's like, it's just projection, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I've seen a lot of that, you know what I mean? And it was so annoying, man. Like that's all that she did. So, she said something about Reddit and, the different things that people are into. And I was like, hey, if that's them, that's them, let them do what they do. You know what I mean? It don't have nothing to do with me unless it gets to a point where, you try to push up on me, then we got a problem. But, whatever makes you happy, hey, go for it, man. You know what I mean? That's just me. You know what I mean? I don't really delve into people's lifestyles like that unless it gets to a point where it's affecting me now. If it's not affecting me today, man, you know what I'm saying? We can coexist in the same spot and we ain't gotta be nasty to each other. But if you get to a point where you try to push up on me, or you try to push your sexuality off onto me, then I'm gonna tell you respectfully, like, nah, chill, like that's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? I am who I am. You are who you are. Let's keep it that way. We can converse or whatever, but as far as all the extra shit, nah. Like, you know what I mean? When you push up on me, we got a problem then. But, do your thing, I do mine, and we good. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. And, and again, she was just like, oh, that had nothing to do with me. That's kind of fucked up. What you mean it got nothing to do with you? That type shit, So, make a long story less long, she went off on this tangent about, me not respecting her age, or me always having to throw her age in her face, and it being a huge chasm in my understanding about, the wisdom that she spits and a whole bunch of stuff. And she always kept saying the phrase, oh, I love my life and all this other stuff. And then mind you, I also forgot to mention that she had 2 failed marriages. Now, if I'm not mistaken, when you fail 2 marriages, the first time it's like, all right, shame on you. Second time, it's like, all right, shame on me. And if you know J. Cole's song, you know what the third one means. You know what I'm saying? So load the chopper up. You feel me? Um, so you know, when you fail two marriages, you don't fall for the same type twice. You know what I mean? If you fall for the same type twice, then that means you're not taking the time to really get to know somebody before you jump straight into something that's long term. You know what I mean? So you should really sit back and reevaluate your options. So so anyway, you know, so I told her, I was like, you know, I don't know where that came from. It's kind of far, but I wasn't trying to throw any shade because she swore me I was trying to throw shade, and I was like, nah, no shade. I was just saying, you know, the internet is a little different than what you may remember. You know what I mean? If you're not that deep into it, you know, you're going to see some things that are pretty much out of the ordinary. That's all I was trying to say to her. But I wasn't like, you know, all like jokey, you know, all joking. I was just straightforward with my shit. I guess you could say nonchalant, maybe. I was just straightforward with it. You know what I mean? But, you know, then she said, you know, have a good evening, sir. I was like, you know, no shade. Then I told her why. I said, you know, I was not throwing any shade or whatever. But I was like, you know, sorry you feel that way, but hey, you know, do as you please. And then she sent back another paragraph. I forgot what she said. And then she said, and I shall, you know, type shit. So I was like, you know, the whole controlling thing and, you know, things wanting her way. And if she not controlling is less pleasurable for her, shit like that. That confirmed it right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have your way. If not, then you're not going to fuck with it. So I literally went to the notes section of my phone and typed this long as Bible scripture pretty much about, you know, telling her about herself because she does that. She was doing that shit to me. You know what I mean? And almost to the point where like I had to accept what she was telling me about myself because she's that much more quote unquote smarter and knowledgeable and intellectual than me. You know what I mean? So it was just like, you know, let's hold the mirror up to you and tell you who you are based off of the interactions and the way that you talk and how you go about things. This is you. You understand what I'm saying? So I gave her the whole goddamn thing. I gave her the whole shebang-a-bang, the whole entire thing. And at the end, I told her, you know, I was like, you know, I told her just to highlight some key things. We're going to wrap this up shortly because I'm pretty sure y'all like, all right, let's speed the shit up. Y'all probably been skipping through. I understand. But just to give, you know, a few highlights of it, I told her that, you know, you're in no position to tell somebody who they are and who they aren't, regardless of your experience in said industry. You understand what I'm saying? You don't leave any open dialogue for conversation. You cut in mid-thought and then jump to a conclusion or assumptions based off of that answer. You don't allow people to deep dive. You didn't allow me to even deep dive into how I was going to go about things. You didn't even ask me if I was going to a record label or independently, going back to the artist talk. There was a lot of things that you wouldn't let me expound upon because as soon as you ask the question mid-thought, which you've done that several times, which is why I've expressed visible frustration because you didn't allow me to go into detail. You just cut in mid-thought. And when I try to get you to let me finish, you wanted me to answer that question so you could go ahead and jump to a conclusion. That shit ain't cool. You know what I mean? So from that point on, and then this is what she also said. I forgot to mention this part. She said that she asked me if I could freestyle. Now, if you know about music and the way it is now, when it's time to freestyle can be either written or off the top. But if you want one truly off the top, then you go off the top. Most of the time, you can tell when it's off the top. But most of the time, guys say off the top, and it's just a 16 they remember off the top of their head. You know what I'm saying? That might be from either an album that they did or from a song they did or whatever. It might be a throwaway, whatever. But when you want a freestyle really just ain't no follow. It's no followed format. You just show that you can stay on beat and you can rhyme. She said, and I quote, she said that if you freestyle, you don't have to rhyme. As long as it's cohesive, it's a freestyle. I said, there's no fucking way you want me to believe that. There's no way. When you freestyle, when you was at school and they say, yo, drop a freestyle, right? When it was time to freestyle, what did you make sure you had to do? Two things: stay on beat and rhyme. Shit didn't even have to make sense, but as long as it rhymed, you were good to go and you could stay on beat. You know what I'm saying? You might have been saying some, you probably would have thought you were saying some shit because people was like, oh my God, oh shit, hey, you know what I mean? But as long as the shit rhymed and you was on rhythm, it didn't matter. So that was a freestyle. I don't know where the fuck she got that from, but if you study music and top tier lyricists, when they say freestyle, like go look at Black Thought from the Roots. That is an elite freestyler. Go look at Eminem. He freestyle. You know what I'm saying? J. Cole, whenever he was first getting on, he freestyle. Shit, the LA Lakers freestyle that he did, that shit gives me chills to this day. And that was him promoting the off season. You know what I'm saying? So So anytime you freestyle, I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, you ain't got to rhyme as long as it's cohesive." Never heard nobody say no shit like that, and that's where she lost me. So I told her that like that's where you lost me on that artist talk and all that music shit. That's where I just checked out. So I just left it the way it is. So I told her that I've never listened or heard anybody say some shit like that about freestyling, because freestyling was all about staying on rhythm and making sure that you can rhyme. You know what I'm saying? And do it within a quick enough, time span while the song was going on, as long as you stayed on beat with it. So like I said, so I checked all the way out of that. So I told her that, and then I told her, after 2 failed marriages, I think you should really sit down and evaluate yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because the second time is really on you to start reevaluating who you are and what you like, and just really go down the line about the things that you like. You're not going to have your way all the time, and that's just what it is. You like to be in control of things that you can control. If not, then you're not going to find the situation pleasurable. You're not, okay? What else did I say? You should start dating more people of your generation, because the more you keep dating younger men, or trying to connect with younger men, you're going to continue to have the disconnect. As long, like, judging by your logic and your ways, you're going to continue to have that disconnect. People might try to conform to it, but it's going to get to a point where it's going to rear its ugly head, and they're not going to want nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm just going off of everything that I see and how she just reacts. That's just what it was. So I told her, I was like, going forth, I'm going to protect my mental health, my peace, and my happiness, and I'm going to end this communication. I have no desire to talk to you after today. So, so I think I said either delete my number, lose my number, or some shit like that. I was like, thank you for the interaction, but it's time for me to get back to what I need to do, back to regular scheduled programming. Hopefully you're able to figure out what's going on, and hopefully it works out for you. But best of luck to you. I think I said have a great life, or best of luck, or some shit like that. And I said peace. And then I sent it, and after I sent it, I blocked her. Because, she's one of the ones where, like, if you tell her about herself or whatever, or you tell her something, she'll deflect and try to gaslight. So I was like, I didn't really care what her response was after that. I'm telling you exactly what I saw, what I heard, and how you reacted to everything. I downloaded everything that she did, and I just told her about herself and the shit that she does, you know what I mean? So I didn't really care what her response was, so I just blocked her after I sent it. Cause, and mind you, like, she called me from 2 numbers, cause we got on video chat. So I blocked the number she called me from on Duo, and then I blocked the number that she sent me that we texted from. Blocked that, and then I also blocked her on Reddit. And I left the chat. Once you left the chat, you can't really see what they said or whatever. So once you leave the chat, it leaves your log. So I left the chat log, and then I blocked her on Reddit. So, and she says she's on social media. If she is, cool. If not, that's cool too. I don't really care. I don't have any desire to continue a conversation. Oh, can we talk? No, I don't have anything to talk to you about. You know what I mean? So I talked to my homeboy about the shit, and he was saying, like, he was like, bro, why you having an intellectual conversation with a random ass woman? Nigga, she just wanted to fuck. That's just what it is. Now, truth be told, my G, I'm going to be so real with you, even though it's been a long time. I've been in a kind of a dry spell. Not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, some ass just ain't worth hitting, bro. That's just what it is, G. You know what I mean? I'm getting older. You know what I mean? My time is coming soon. I know it's coming up. You know what I mean? So I'm not really in no rush to her but get into something physical. If it presents itself, then I'll try it. I'll not try, but I'll do it. You know what I mean? But sometimes, bro, it ain't worth all the hoops to jump through just to get some ass, bro. Like, it's just not worth it. You know what I'm saying? And I've already expressed to her that, if it ever came down to dating, I don't have much to bring to the table, so I'm not gonna waste your time. You know what I mean? And I've even presented the idea of smashing a few times, because she's in Chicago and I'm in, of course I'm in Georgia, so that's like maybe 8-hour drive or some shit. But I'm not going down there. She more likely to come down here, but it ain't worth the headache. It ain't worth the time to try to to try to get some ass or whatever. But on to the next, man. It's over. And I told her, I say it's over 1 billion some people in the world. I'm not gonna let one person stop what could potentially be my next yes stemming from that no. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was just like, yeah, even if she was G, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth all the headache and the trouble to go through just to get some ass, bro. I'm not on board with that. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'll be all right. On to the next. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really worried about it anymore. After that point, I wasn't worried about it. But So let's switch gears. Switch back. Let's get back to the Eagles hideout. You know what I'm saying? Let's go on and get back. But I know a lot of y'all been watching the playoffs, man. Tom Brady didn't make it, so kudos to the who was that? Who was that? No, that was the Rams. Kudos to the Rams. You know, not knocking them boys out of there. Get them out of there. You know what I mean? I think this might be the end for Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Tell him to sit his old ass down somewhere. The Bills didn't make it. Kansas City beat them. But as far as the Eagles, man, I think the plans for the Eagles is they're still going to stick with Hurts, which is good. I'm glad. It's just they need to continue to work with Hurts. Keep working with him. Let him control the offense the way he needs to. You know, like, because he's young and he's still coachable, they're telling him to be safe. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, let's look at Vic, for example, right? Vic played to his strengths. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about Atlanta Falcons Vic, right? Now, of course, when he went through his whole dog thing and then, you know, he came back and the Eagles picked him up, you know, who was that? That was Chip Kelly that was with him, right? I think so, maybe. Or it might have been Andy Reid. I don't know. But whoever was the coach at the time, whenever, let's say he was at the Falcons, right? The Falcons let him play to his strengths. He was fast, had a rocket arm, but most of his strengths were in him having having wheels, being a dual threat QB, you know what I mean? Because at that time, that was a new thing coming to the league. So a whole lot of teams didn't know how to combat that. So they let him play to what he was strongest at. So moving on, after he did his little stint with the dog thing, Eagles came and picked him up. So, you know, most quarterbacks at that time, we had nothing but pocket QBs. But when we picked up Vic, we had we had an offense, we had a spread offense, and we used that and we ran that based off of how Vic ran in college, because he was from Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech runs somewhat of a spread offense. So we ran that and we let Vic do what he was going to do. Whatever you want to do, Vic, go right on ahead. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't let him be a pocket QB, or they didn't try to get him to be only a pocket QB. No, like if you have the opportunity to scramble, go for it. You know what I'm saying? You do what you need to do, and that's what they let him do. But now with this new coaching system that they got going on, now they're trying to get Jalen Hurts to be safe about the passes he's making. If you look back at the game, all he did was throw to Goddard. You know what I'm saying? Or if it wasn't Goddard, then it was a cheap RPO play, or they just told him to check down with Sanders. You know what I mean? Maybe Rager and Watkins, maybe he checked in with them more times than they did with Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith was showing his ass, so to speak, during the regular season towards the end. You know what I mean? Devontae Smith was really like, he was a weapon. He was really legit a weapon. But because teams were keying in on that, or the coaching staff thought that teams were going to key in on Devontae Smith, they was like, okay, he's going to be locked up most of the time, so I want you to throw to Goddard or Sanders or some cheap check down. And that's not how it should be. Because of that, now it's limiting him from seeing the deep ball. Now that's limiting him. If they let him, if they take the reins off of him and let him perform the way he needs to, because he got wheels. We've all seen that he got wheels. So that's cool. But you got to let him work on his vision. Let him see the deep ball. Let him throw however he's going to throw, and then let him go from there. You know what I'm saying? Stop making him be a safe QB, because the more you make him a safe QB, when it's time to actually start stretching the field, now it's going to become a problem, because he's not experienced enough. Even though he performed on the big stage, you're limiting his experience of him stretching the field and throwing a deep ball. Let him do that. Let him do it. Let him work on his timing. That pass to Devontae Smith, that would have been a touchdown already. But because you telling Hurts to be a check down quarterback only to Goddard and Sanders and some RPOs, only short to mid passes, when it's time to make the deep ball, his timing is off now. Because that pass due to Devontae Smith that got picked off, that was a great pass. But the fact that they're telling him to throw short to mids only, that throws his timing off on the deep ball. So let that man work on him throwing deep balls. Let him pause. let him be able to stretch the field whenever he feels like he needs to. Let him do that. Let him work on his vision. Work on his vision on the offseason. And I promise you will see a better and more improved Jalen Hurts. If they do that, all is good. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? Trust me. If they let him do that, I guarantee you the Eagles will have a better chance at going all the way next year. You know what I mean? And of course, if everybody stay healthy, that is, and work on the defense. Defense is good. I will say defense is good. It's a little shoddy at times, but it's there. So if they, like I said, if they let Jalen Hurts do what he need to do and stop making him be such a safe QB and let him perform like back how he was when he was on the big stage, if they let him do that, man, I guarantee you we're gonna have a better season. So I think that I don't know if it was Houseman or Howie wrote, whatever his damn name is, whatever the GM is of the Eagles, and Peterson and Sirianni just let Jalen Hurts do what he need to do. Guarantee you we're gonna have a better season next year, definitely. But yeah, so I got faith in the Eagles, man. They're gonna pull it together next year for sure. We made it this far. We were pretty much stated to not even make the playoffs, let alone wild card. You know what I mean? So I'm glad the fact that they made it that far. But all that coaching that they're doing with Hurts and telling him to do this, nah. Let him play his game. That's all I gotta say. Let him play his game, bro. Work on the defense some more in the offseason. Work on Jalen Hurts and his vision and his timing on the deep passes. Let him stretch the field when you feel like he needs to. Give him that freedom. Stop trying to make him such a careful QB. Let's not do that. You know what I mean? But all in all, like I said, I got confidence in Philly that they'll pull it together next year for sure. So moving along. So Battlefield 2042 had put out an update about the scoreboard being fixed, different visual tweaks and stuff like that, which honest to God, I still really want them to bring back the marksman bonus. Sniping just doesn't hit the same when you don't have that marksman bonus. Cause oh my God, I used to love the marksman bonus. I used to love seeing, however many points the marksman XP was, that's how many meters away it was. So for every point was a meter. So I missed that a lot in Battlefield. But hopefully they'll patch that in at some point. I hope that they do. But a lot of things where people were talking about was the scoreboard. So scoreboard has been reworked. As far as the portal XP, they moved it from whatever it was before to now it's 300 per like a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? So you can get 300 XP and that's the cap per like minute or some shit. So, so you can rack up now. But see, the problem with that is people want to try to crucify DICE for doing what they did about the whole XP in Portal. And it sucks because, they gloss over the whole idea of the XP farmers. You know what I mean? And true, they should have seen that coming. You know what I mean? They really should have seen that coming and did something about that. But it sucks because now we got to pay the price for it. I can't play Battlefield 3 or was it? Yeah, I can't play Battlefield 3 or Bad Company 2 and really get my shit off because of the XP being limited to a degree, or I can't play a custom Portal match with 2042 being added onto with 2042 assets inside of it without there being an XP cap because of the farmers, you know what I'm saying? And it sucks, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to crucify DICE for that, although they should have done something about that in the beginning or should have kept that in mind. But I'm putting mostly the blame on XP farmers because they're a bunch of lazy asses that don't want to go through the mud and get it like that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to pay the price for it because y'all want to sit down and have number AIs come in and rack up XP and get your kills and so you can get all the camos and shit. It's tacky, bro. It's really, really tacky. So I'm putting all the blame on, out of 100% blame, I'm putting 90%, maybe 95% blame on the farmers because they're a bunch of lazy asses. And then 5% or 10% on DICE for not, nipping that in the bud before it even came about. You know what I mean? So, so as of right now, as we're speaking right now, the XP is definitely being bumped up, and amongst other things, y'all can go check out the article, man, and see exactly what all they fixed. But I'm not sure when exactly when the first season starts for Battlefield 2042. I'm not sure, but when it does, I'll definitely be on it. I've been kind of like touch and go with it. I'll get on here and there, but I haven't been on it long enough because, like I said, it really ain't much to do on Battlefield, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's still a great game. I love it to death, but it really ain't much to do. I know they're doing like the weekly challenges, but I'm kind of cool in weekly challenges. You know what I mean? I want to see what the season holds. So I'm not sure when exactly the season's supposed to start. Some people have said, it's being pushed back to March. February. I don't know, but it's being pushed back, and it's being worked on as we speak. But when that season starts, then I'll be back on Battlefield full time again. But I've been touch and go between that and Vanguard, and yeah. But 2042 is definitely still being worked on. I'm glad DICE is listening and still trying to get these things pushed out for us so we can, get a better experience for Battlefield, so to speak, as we go along. So I'm really proud of DICE for stepping up, and the devs been coming out on Twitter, have been answering all the questions that they can answer, even addressing some of the trolls, which I thought was pretty cool. You know what I mean? But yeah, so shout out to DICE, man. Battlefield 2042, the most recent update's out now. So if you have not touched it, go pick that up, go check it out and see what y'all think about it, see if y'all like it. And yeah, man. So shout out to DICE, man. Big shout out to DICE. So back to the point of the people of just gaming in general. I will say, man, the current state of gaming is pretty it's pretty shitty. It's pretty shitty, man. Because I hate the fact that it's mostly just people complaining just to complain. You know what I'm saying? Like it's frustrating to a degree that you have so many other options to play, right? You have so many other games to play. And of course, not a lot of people are going to have the same thought process as you, so you have to remember that. But it's frustrating to me because, everybody thinks that you're supposed to have it right away. You know what I mean? You have to prioritize of what's important. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember some people were saying that, there's no content in 2042. I want to see more content. Like that Twitter exchange I told you about in the last pod. Like, I want more content on day one. I want this and that. You have to prioritize what's important. Why would you want content and the game can't even be stable enough to be able to let you play the content on day one? You know what I'm saying? You would want the game to be stable first and then bring on the content later on. You know what I'm saying? You just have to make do for the time because you're going to complain about the content, not enough of it being there day one. And then two, you're going to have a game that's not even stable enough, let alone all the bugs and shit getting in the way of you playing the game and experiencing the content. So you're going to have two things to complain about versus one thing. Well, it's still going to be two things if you say, the game ain't stable enough and there's no content, versus if you just had one complaint about it, there's no content, but the game is pretty damn stable. I can at least play the game, just ain't enough to do in there. You know what I'm saying? So you have to prioritize what's going to work. You have to. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? But the current state of gaming is just really spoiled, I guess you can say. You know what I mean? Like everybody just has this entitlement. You know what I mean? Like, give me an example. Hitman 3, right? Year 2 started just recently, and I haven't gotten to it yet. I love the Hitman series. I think probably when Hitman came to the PS4, not 3, but the 4, when they did Hitman, was that 2014 Hitman, when the first new iteration of Hitman came out. I think that was probably like my favorite one. Or whatever. Then it went to Hitman 2, and I played them all. I played every Hitman that I can remember, starting from Silent Assassins, the second one, all the way up to where we are now. I didn't play the first one, which was very ugly. And I played Blood Money. I played Silent Assassin, Blood Money, Absolution. Oh my goodness, my phone keeps going off. Absolution. Then you had Hitman when it came to PS4, the Hitman 2. Then Hitman 3, where we are now. You know what I mean? So I played them all. But it's just, it's crazy because with year 2 of Hitman 3 starting out, people are already putting negative reviews on Steam about it. I don't know what the reviews are about, but it's like, it's crazy because, mind you, this is on PC. You know what I mean? And people say, PC master race this, but somebody made the comment of, this is what the PC master race is like, a bunch of complainers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, it's sad that people just take the opportunity to just try to shit on the game when they can, just to make a point. That sucks to me. Like, I hate that. Like, once upon a time, it never used to be like this. It never used to be like that. When the game came out, you had to like it for what it was. You know what I'm saying? If you really liked the game, you accepted it for all it was. You know what I mean? Or you try to make the best of it. If you didn't like it, then you just waited for the next iteration of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the internet wasn't so prevalent the way it is now, but now that it's gotten to a point where, people like Ready or Not, which I'm gonna talk about that too. With Ready or Not, people getting on there and feeling like they have this platform or this soapbox that they can just say anything and whatever. And if enough people gang up on it, then they can make that change, which I've seen it happen with the whole Sonic the Hedgehog thing, where they had to go in and literally reanimate Sonic to make him look like the actual Sonic that we remember from Dreamcast and Super Nintendo, not Super Nintendo, but Sega games and stuff like that. Like they really had to refix that. You know what I mean? So it really looks like the real Sonic, because that first character was terrible. You know what I mean? And at least they did that right. Like that was justified. You know what I mean? But yeah, it just sucks that, people will just take that time to just go in and try to really make a big fuss about it or make a big stink about it just to make, just to make headlines almost, you know what I mean? But then let time go on and then they're revered as one of the best games. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks to me, man. Like it's just really, really like spoiled entitlement for me. You know what I mean? And then the whole Ready or Not thing, I hated it. I hated Ready or Not in the way that they had to readjust what they were doing. So if you don't know about Ready or Not, they were talking about how there was like this big controversy, right? Because Team 17 was going to publish Ready or Not, but they pulled back on it for whatever reason. But it was mutual between the two. But people swore up and down that there was the disconnect because they had a school shooter level, and what it was because there's certain modes for certain maps. And I think one of the modes that you see in the video of me playing it was, I think it was barricaded suspects. So you have bomb threat, active suspects. I mean, barricaded suspects, active shooter, and there's something else on there. But active shooter is on one of the maps. And I think one of the test maps, or at least one of the coming maps, was a school, and you had to find the active shooter. And for every minute that you couldn't find the shooter, that mean that not hostiles, but hostages were getting eliminated by the minute or however long it took, however that mode went, because I didn't play it yet. And people were really up in arms about that shit. And people were up in arms about this game called Hatred. They said that was one of the most violent games, and I have the game Hatred. It ain't that bad. You know what I mean? Honestly, like from what I used to do in Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5, Hatred is just right along point with what from what I wanted to do in Grand Theft Auto, but they expounded upon that. So Hatred really ain't that damn bad in hindsight. You know what I'm saying? Other than what you would do in Grand Theft Auto, but with the right mods, it could be right along with Hatred. You know what I'm saying? There's even a color mod with Hatred, because Hatred is in black and white. You know what I mean? But that game Hatred really ain't that bad. You know what I mean? You can look up videos on it. This game shouldn't come out. The game came out, did fine. People complained about it, and then they just moved on. Same thing with Ready or Not. Only thing I would say with Ready or Not, if Ready or Not really wanted to do it still, and they want to try to chill everybody out, do it like it's a community college or something, or do it something where it's a college, even though they're gonna try to say it's reminiscent of the Virginia Tech shooting and stuff like that. The best thing that they were to do is to just make it like a community college or a college, and just go at it like that. Don't put kids in it, because if you put kids in it, then they're definitely gonna have a big ass fuss about it. But Ready or Not is trying to push down barriers and walls to try to make a great product. And people are preventing them from doing that when they're going around making a big ass fuss about the game, and it has to cater to them, and it shouldn't be like this, and it shouldn't be like that. And it's just, whatever happened to, if you don't like it, don't play it. I want to play the game, but they can't have that love, then don't fucking play it. Remember when Modern Warfare 2 had the controversial mission, no rushing? Remember that shit? Do you not remember that? There was a time where Modern Warfare 2, when you first booted it up, if you don't believe me, like, go boot it up right now. Like, do a fresh boot of Modern Warfare 2. They tell you in the beginning that there is offensive and graphic images in this game. There is a level that you can skip, or there's an option to skip a level if you don't want to play it. If you do, we will not count it against you, yes or no. And they give you two answers. They say, are you sure? If you say yes, you say yes again. Okay, cool. Then the no rushing mission pops up. You basically, spoiler alert, if you don't know of it, you probably YouTube it after this. You go in, you play undercover, you go into an airport, which this could happen. Truth be told, it could happen. You know, don't hold me to that. You know what I mean? But anything can happen. You go in undercover, you go in there, you come out of the elevator, and they say, remember, no rushing. You both walk out with LMGs. You look like juggernauts when you walk out of there. LMGs, you mow down everybody that you see in the elevator, come out of the elevator in a little airport lobby, and you slow walk, mowing down anybody you see, from civilians to police. And mind you, pay attention now. There's no kids. It's all adults. You see what I'm saying? So you mow down everybody. You mowing down police, whoever's in there. The SWAT comes to try to take y'all down. You mow through them too, and then you get to the very end, and they said, "All right, yeah, that was a message." And then I think it's Makarov. No, I forget what his name is, but the main protagonist or the antagonist, he says, "No, that wasn't a mission." He pulls you up, pops you in the neck, or shoots you in the head, whatever the two, and he said that was a message. So the entire time you doing that shit, you pretty much committed several civilian casualties, and they knew you were undercover, so they let you do what you was going to do, and they was going to kill you in the end anyway. You know what I mean? But that was a mission that you could skip if you didn't want to play that. They won't count it against you, nor your progression to the end of the mission. So you could skip past that if you wanted to. But do you really think Infinity Ward gave a fuck about what people were going to think when they made that mission? No, they wanted to push the envelope. They wanted to push down boundaries to make that game much more better. You know what I'm saying? Same thing Ready or Not is trying to do, but people are trying to be up in arms about some shit that really ain't even out yet, or it's not even going to be as bad as they think it is. So it's just, my whole thing is, let people do what they're going to do. Like, shut up with this whole soapbox thing that everything has to be catered to you. If you don't like it, don't play it. Let them do what they're going to do, because you have people like myself that appreciate a developer trying to break down the barriers and not be out of the norm about the shit. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that, because that's what makes the game much more unique when they do that. But if you don't like it, don't play it. You know what I'm saying? Go find something else to play. There's plenty of other games you can play that cater to you, but don't have to have that level of intensity to it. Like 0 Hour. You can go play 0 Hour. That's another SWAT shooter. You can play that. Go play Zero Branch or something. There's other games that you can play that'll fill that void or scratch that itch that you need. But stop trying to hold developers back from being great, because that's the type of game you don't want. You don't speak for everybody else. So go sit down somewhere. Let's get back to something a little bit more lighthearted. So if you haven't known, Madden has God, this is a good episode. So Madden has done Campus Legends again, and they have brought back, I believe, is Alabama and Ohio State, I think, for Campus Legends. I think all the other college teams will come back also. I'm not sure how long it's there. It might be gone already. I don't know. But Campus Legends has come back again, and they've added 2 new schools. And I think this is because now they're getting a little bit more leniency to put the schools out now. They're able to use the likeness of the school and the logos and the NCAA shit like that, because, they passed a law now. So they passed a law that now schools can pay their students for their likeness in the school and shit like that. So they're now paid student athletes now. So now that they can do that, so that kind of gives EA a little bit more leniency to use college football, and then they can't really use actual college players yet, unless they do like a actual NCAA dedicated game for NCAA. But they'll take the actual college teams and their uniforms and all the likeness of it, but they'll put different players from the NFL that came from Ohio State. So that's how they fill the teams out. But other than that, it's Alabama and Ohio State. All right. So that's just what it is. Right. So, it kind of gives you a grand idea about how NCAA would probably be. And it's cool that they're adding that in, you know what I'm saying? It gives people a little bit of a nostalgia kick to it. You know what I'm saying? Just something to play, just to, pass the time or really scratch the itch of, wanting an NCAA game, and give you an idea. You know what I mean? It's cool. If you don't dive too deep into it, you just play it for what it is, you know what I mean? But honestly, I like it, but I can't take it too seriously, you know what I mean? And I think that's what Madden really is to me. That's a game I can't take seriously, because when I do, it shows me why it's not a serious game. So I have to leave it I have to leave it like that. I can't do it no other way. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't try to go in there and be smart and be technical about it, because the game will just show me that this is not a technical thinking man's game. You know what I'm saying? It's just not that. You know what I mean? A half brain monkey could play this game. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I try to play it, you know, for what it's worth, but it at times whenever I start getting competitive about it, I can't be competitive because it'll show me why it's not a competitive game. You know, but that also leads me to my next point. There's a video that I did. With it's a couple of videos I did. I'm gonna have to compile those down or whatever. And I don't want to say the spoiler alert, but there's a little bit of rage in it, just a little bit. Might be a lot, I don't know, but I'll have to end up compiling the video down just so y'all can see it. But I recorded a few, and you know, Madden to me is funny because, you know, it's crazy how the first game you normally play, especially when you're trying to make a statement, the first game you play, it's always a blowout. You know what I mean? Then the second time when you play, it just shows me that like this game is already predetermined from the jump to figure out to show you who is going to win this game or how this game is going to be. You know what I mean? Like you'll never get two games that are the same in a row, regardless of how similar the game plan was from the next one. You know what I'm saying? Like a friend of mine that I played, he literally like ran the same 3 or 4 plays back to back. And I knew what he was going to do. There's a lot of plays I seen coming a mile away. You know what I'm saying? So, whenever, you know, I run the ball, that's what I've always based my game around. When I first started playing Madden, that's what I did. I ran the ball. I knew how to run the shit out of the rock. That was the one thing I knew how to do. But it sucks to me because, you know, these crutches that EA always allows people and players to use to rely on when there's nothing else. I remember when, especially the diving mechanic, right? The tackling mechanic. I'll never forget the time where you had to literally make contact in order to make a tackle. You had to make sure you was at the right angle, timed it right and everything in order for you to make an actual tackle. You understand what I'm saying? Like you really had to do that. A lot of the times when I ran the ball, there was so much shoestring tackles and so many ankle wrap ups. It was just really frustrating. Like this was like maybe the 3rd or 4th game in, maybe 5th game in. The first and second game was close. The first game blowout, second game was close. I still won, or he might have won by like a hair. And in the third game, I'm pissed because now I'm trying to like really stick it to this nigga. Like pause, but I'm really trying to really, you know, get rid of him. Then, you know, it's so many of this. I've seen times where I'm not even by the hole yet. I'm not even by the gap yet. And as soon as I get there, immediately a diving foot tackle and I'm down. You know what I'm saying? Diving through blockers and all, I'm down immediately. You know what I'm saying? Can't even scramble because this guy's diving 5, maybe 8 yards away to make a tackle that's not even possible to make, let alone it being a risky tackle like that. I remember back in Madden, I remember Madden 01, 02, 03, 04, 03 for sure, because I remember in 03. In 03, I remember juking somebody out used to be the nastiest thing. It used to be so satisfying to watch somebody just get juked out and you see them just whiff past you. I used to love that. I used to love when you used to juke away from somebody because, mind you, the tackling was just in place. It was like in place almost. Like there was no Superman diving tackle. Like no, like you juked. I mean, you tackled only how far a human body could dive, especially from a certain standpoint. If you were standing still, or if I had an angle on you to some degree, I could juke away from you. Or if you were coming, pause. If you were running towards me at a certain angle, because at the time I wasn't aware of angles, but if you were coming to me at a certain angle and you dove, or if you were like ahead of me a little bit and I dove to the left of you to let you dive in front of me and you missed, like it was so satisfying, bro. It was so satisfying. If you didn't know how to tackle, that was your ass. You know what I'm saying? You just whiffed. That was just what it was. You know what I mean? So, back to Madden 22 where we are right now, and even 21, but 22 most importantly, it's so many times where guys will get away with shoestring tackles or just ankle tackles that are wrap-ups. It's so annoying watching these guys make these tackles, and they're giving it to them 99% of the time. It's so frustrating because I've never seen somebody literally get an ankle tackle every time. That is your last ditch effort to make a tackle. You are supposed to wrap up from the ankles and legs down. That's how you tackle. That is a formed tackle. Understandably, you can't get that all the time, so you just gotta go for what you want. But guys that are literally like standing so close to you, and the first thing they go for is just your ankles and your feet. No, that's not how you tackle, because that's not a guaranteed tackle. That's last ditch effort tackling. You form tackle. You literally go from the waist and then wrap the legs up. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? But in 22, you don't see a whole lot of that. So that gives guys the confidence to just dive, knowing the fact that they're going to get an ankle tackle, and it's consistent 99% of the time. I've had one of the games where he dove and hit the ground, literally dove and hit the ground, didn't even touch me, but he popped back up to make a foot tackle. I mean, an ankle tackle. That shit pissed me off so bad. I was so aggravated because I was like, that is bullshit, and you know that. You know what I mean? But whatever, because even I found myself doing it too, just to make a wrap up. And it's sad. It's sad that both users got to conform to that without having some sort of skill to be able to wrap up somebody or to commit a clean tackle. That shit pissed me off so bad. There was even a play where I'm gonna definitely make sure I show y'all, but there was a play where I knew what play he was getting ready to run, and I ran a cover 4. I forget what it was. And before I dive into what happened, I want to say this. Man has got to stop trying to sneakily add in second assignments to different zones. Like if the play is this and the zone does that. When I say deep blue and I say over the top, deep blue plays over the top, right? That means I want you to play deep. Play deep. If you have a deep blue, you play deep. I shouldn't have to say play sticks in order for guys to play their actual assignments. But if I got a pink zone and he's supposed to be covering the curl flat, let's say curl flat, right? Or somewhere to the sideline, whatever that zone is, I'll just say pink because purple is the mid, I think. If that's what you're supposed to do, let that zone cover that, right? There was a play I literally had a deep blue. I think it was Slay, right? And everybody knows Slay don't play. There was a deep blue that Slay was supposed to be on. There was a flat that was being ran. I think he might have been open or was getting open. Why does Slay come back down to cover the flat, leaving his man on the street wide open? If I'm not mistaken, you don't give up a guaranteed play. I would have respected more if he threw the flat and got the first down and possibly more, but not a deep ball that is a guaranteed touchdown. You know what I'm saying? A guaranteed touchdown versus a possible touchdown. The only thing that's guaranteed is the first down and possibly more or a possible touchdown. You don't come down off of a deep blue to guard a flat. EA has got to stop sneaking and putting in these hidden assignments, these hidden second assignments on main assignments. If you're covering deep blue and the guy's running a streak, you cover that streak. I've never seen I've never seen a corner that's supposed to be covering the deep ball come down to guard a flat. If his man is running a streak, I've never seen him come down to guard a flat. Never. Somebody has that assignment covering the flat. Somebody has that assignment. And somebody did. I don't know what happened. He might have got occupied with something else. Whatever. I'll take the hit on that. But don't give up a guaranteed touchdown to guard a flat. If the flat's wide open, so what? Come down there and make the stop. But don't guard a flat to give up a guaranteed touchdown. And that shit pissed me off so bad. That's literally what made me start raging at that point. But yeah, man. But all that to say, EA really shows you like how stupid this game can get and the amount of links that users will go through to stay ahead, or what the game will do to make users stay ahead or catch up, whichever positioning you're in. But yeah, man. So stay on the lookout for a video for that. I'm gonna try to compile that and put that together. But I'm gonna start wrapping this thing on up, man. But before we get out of here, I want to say future plans for this channel. Definitely. If you made it to the end, I fucks with you. I definitely want to start. I want to make perks for this channel, not the ones you pop. But I'm talking about actual, like, you know, you actually join to be a member of the channel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm putting a Discord together. And I'm still leaning on the side whether or not, you know, if I should make it, if I should make the Discord access, member only, or, you know what I'm saying, or should I just make it just available to whoever want to join? Have a little community, because I want to make a Discord. I just haven't sat down and really figured it out yet. But I want to do that. And then also there's certain, I want to put emotes inside of, when I live streams. I want to do that more also. Have certain emotes that y'all can use when you become a member. And then if you're subscribed if you're subscribed and you've been a member for a certain amount of years, or just a member for a certain amount of years, then, you'll have different logos next to your name. You know what I mean? So you might have the logo for about a month or so being subscribed. And after about 4 or 5 months, you get this logo. Or if you've been a member for so many months, almost about a year, you get this logo, and then so on and so forth. So just little small incentives to to just let folks know, like, hey, you've been rocking with me for a long time. I'll put an early video up or something like that, or I'll give you a rundown as to what I'm trying to do this week, or or I might, if I upload a video, so it's be coming out tomorrow, whoever's a member, I'll put the video out for y'all a day early, or I'll let y'all see the video before everybody else do. You know what I mean? That type of thing, and then work on some more merch. You know what I mean? Just do little small stuff like that. Because eventually when I start back working, I want to do like, giveaways for free merch and stuff like that, for people, that really want to, support the channel and, show their support. You know what I mean? And also trying to come up with more ideas for merch and more logos and stuff like that. But, definitely I'm trying to take this thing to the next level, but my eyes and ears are open. I'm trying to keep different ideas, and I'll write them down as they come along, but definitely I'm going to be doing things like that. So with all that being said, man, if you made it all the way to the end of this podcast, man, I appreciate every last one of y'all, man, for sure. Everybody who's listening to this, wherever you are, I really appreciate every last one of y'all checking out this podcast, man. Been wanting to do this for a while, and it feels kind of good that I'm doing it, man. I never really actually sat down and thought that I would be able to convey my thoughts and be able to sit down in one spot to do it all. You know what I mean? But this was a great episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for listening to the podcast. To all my black folks out there, man, be great, be smart, be successful in anything that you do. And remember, you can always do anything you put your mind to. As cliche as that sounds, you may say it sounds corny, but whether you believe it or not, there's people out there that are counting on you to not succeed. So be smart, overcome all the odds you can, and as long as you try, that's all that matters. But keep trying, and the door will knock down eventually, and you will be winning. Definitely. All right, so take that, download it, process it, keep that with you, and just take that with you and apply that in everything that you do. Definitely, 100%. But I'm going to get up out of here, man. Appreciate y'all's time. Everybody, appreciate y'all coming through. Shout out to y'all on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, listening to YouTube, whatever. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread the links, because you know how I do. I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's your boy DiVine, and I'm signing out. Peace.